Health Network Laboratories is a multi-regional reference lab headquartered in Allentown, Pennsylvania, serving more than 12,000 healthcare providers. We provide both clinical and anatomic pathology services. The flow cytometry department processes an average of 150 samples per month for leukemia and lymphoma immunophenotyping. A few years ago, we had heard about Duraclone tubes at the Beckman-Coulter user group meeting and decided to implement them to address two issues. First, our client list was expanding to include 4 additional hospitals, and we needed to absorb the new volume without adding staffing. Second, the technologists were beginning to experience medical issues related to repetitive motion from manually pipetting an ever-increasing number of tubes. Duraclone tubes are custom-made to the laboratory's specifications. Liquid reagents are dried into the tubes according to our panel configurations. We performed titration studies with all of our current liquid reagents. Once we had the volumes and dilutions, we provided that information to Beckman-Coulter and a pre-lot of tubes were manufactured. Given that we only had 25 tubes to work with, we had to be very careful when designing our validation. Our normal weekly quality control was run for the duration of the study, which took 4 weeks. During that time, we ran 21 samples, approximately half of which were normal and half were abnormal. All sample types were included: bone marrow, peripheral blood, tissues, and fluids, and we made sure to include the most common conditions, including acute and chronic leukemias of both lymphoid and myeloid lineages. Data analysis was performed and included both the percentage of positive cells and the staining intensity for each marker on each cell type. In no case did the staining intensity vary more than 1 level between the liquid reagents and the Duraclone tubes, which is equivalent to the variability CAP allows on their proficiency surveys. The percentages were graded against our laboratory's allowable coefficient of variation and matched greater than 98% of the time. The interpretation from the flow data and the final interpretation from the pathologist were also evaluated and were consistent 100% of the time. Previously, it took a technologist 68 minutes to process a sample and pipette the liquid reagents for our standard leukemia and lymphoma panel. With the Duraclone tubes, that time has been decreased to 29 minutes. We have been successful in absorbing the new hospital volumes without an increase in staffing and estimate our capacity has been increased by approximately 75% with the implementation of the Duraclone tubes. All right, so that was